Ahmad, Munich.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah, sir.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
So, sir, I have been seeing and listening to Dr. Srar and Maulana Ishaq for quite a long time. And what I have learned from them is that first you have to fix yourself, implement the Islam in yourself, then in your family, and then go out and implement that in the society. That's what how I understood. And now the question comes to that if we are living abroad, then how we are going to achieve the third part if we ourselves implement Islam for ourselves and then family, and how we're going to implement the third part,
Which is
which is
implementing it.
implement Islam in the society.
Yeah, you start by I'll give you a model. There's a working model for this. Dr. Sar or anyone who's going to talk about implementing the system. I think Maulana Ishaq was a superior solution than Dr. Sar's. Maulana Ishaq gave a very practical solution for it, which is a very common sense solution. And we in Pakistan did it 75 years ago, right? So how do we do that? We actually implement it like the Jews have implemented it. Simple. It's a working model. You know, Jews in Germany, Jews in England, Jews in France, Jews in America. They're not implementing Judaic system implementation in America. Where are they
Got their land.
implementing?
Sorry to cut you. They got their land and then they implemented their system.
And we have
They
land.
implemented
We have
that
way
in
bigger
Germany.
land. We have lands and acres more than they have. They have a spick of a land compared to what we have. You know what I'm saying? Their whole country can fit 20 times in the countries 200 times the kind of countries we actually have. We need to actually see. I need the overseas Muslims to call in the logic of Islam to the world of Islam right now. You guys are way over the curve. Local Pakistanis and Indians, they look up to overseas Muslims because of so many visible and invisible reasons. And rightly so. You guys are far more competent, far more eloquent, well, a million times more eloquent. You guys are swift. You guys think fast. You guys understand better. You guys have deeper demands from the very word logic. You have deeper demands. This word logic is an actual taboo in Pakistan and India. You know what I'm saying? You need to understand that. And that's why I'm thinking next Muslim leadership is coming from overseas. I'm sorry, but that's the probability that anyone would be a fool to deny that. And I hope it comes from overseas Muslims. I swear to God. Because if it comes from within, I know the kind of acumen and intellect which is harboring inside the streets of Pakistan. Are you kidding me with this one? This is going to be a big problem if the current understanding that the central definition of Islam that we are carrying, if that comes into play, then people who actually, I would die for the system of implementation of Islam. And I would be afraid, you know what, this is going to ruin the very fabric of the next 500 years. People are not going to come to Islam because of, whatever, the way they actually look at it. And it's not just my opinion. Very strict classical Muslims with sane enough minds have already written about this, not just in distant past, as far as 2 years ago. I was just reading this book from Hamid Kamaluddin, amazing book, or a booklet, or whoever reinterpreted his journals. And I was thinking, okay, wait, there is genuine criticism about the way Muslims inside Pakistan, India, and wherever Muslim world, they're looking at the way or the psychological construct of Islam inside the minds of the current day Muslim living in the Muslim world. And of course, that's panning out in overseas Muslims as well, because that's where we're all from, right? I mean, we're from here. So, but since you guys are traveled, you guys have bigger and better perspectives, your aperture is bigger, you bring in more light to understand the same things differently. That's why you have higher acumen. It's not like, that, people here are not smart enough. They are smart people, but, you cannot deny the obvious. There's a big difference between English boys and girls living in Manchester and Bristol, and English Muslim boys and girls living in Manchester, versus I'm talking about the 15-year-olds and 20-year-olds and kids of 15 and 20 in Miyawali, and and as far as Multan and even in Lahore and Islamabad. I'm sorry, there's a big difference
Sir, I
the way
got
they
your
look
point.
at things.
Sir, I
You know
got
what I'm
your
saying?
point that we, while living in abroad, then we can, make a bigger impact to the people who are living
Inside
in
our
Pakistan.
own zones, I need you to see the Jewish model is so workable. I'm not saying it's the best model. I swear, it's so workable. You
First
know what? The
comment,
Jewish
sorry to cut you. So the first comment will, when we will do that, we will get that you are living abroad, and it is easier that you can say that. You are not living here in Pakistan. You do not know any such thing that we are facing.
gotta
This
build
will be the
Pakistan.
first
Nah,
thing
see,
that we will get.
so
Then
we're
we are
not.
not making an example for them, while living among them and doing the such thing, and giving them the right path, by being a
Them.
role model.
I don't do pronouns. Who are you calling them?
People living in Pakistan.
You're not giving them the right example. You're giving them everything. You're giving them acumen. You're giving them intellect. You're giving them knowledge. That's where it should come from. It's the other way around right now. Overseas Muslims are, I swear to you, sick enough to. They're so sickened. They're ill that they have Geo and ARY in every house in England, America, and Canada. These overseas Pakistanis are, obsessed that they have to go as to the bottom of the barrel. Muslims in Pakistan and in America and Canada and England, even in Denmark, I mean, places I've been to, any house you walk into, it's like walking into Lahore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
that's correct.
Gulbarga's house. It's like,
Yeah,
what
that's
the
true.
hell is going on with you guys?
Yeah.
I mean, if you have to pick a Pakistani TV, why did you pick the worst of them all? I mean, you want to dumb down everybody? What's the point of being in Germany and France and England and Norway if you had to listen to Geo and ARY, for God's sakes? I mean, that's why I'm telling you, these last two generations, they were really without. I'm telling you this. This is something that and the arrogance that reeks from their tones. This is so appalling, because we are ruining the very fabric of the minds of our kids. Every house I walked into, I'm not giving you a small number here. I'm talking about like 6, 7, 8 families a week I used to visit every day. I used to go to a different house. I'm thinking, what's going on with you guys? I mean, a Pakistani TV channel in my house. So it was a shocking thing that, as soon as this cable, this satellite television thing came in, Pakistanis just tuned right in. I mean, what happened to CNN and BBC, for God's sake? I mean, if you had to, go that way, well, at least you could have just flipped from Geo to, BBC once a month for just 10 minutes. But nope, they're not gonna. And that's the bigger delta between kids right now in their 15, 20s. They don't really connect with their folks anymore because their folks never left Pakistan. They live in Germany, but they didn't leave Pakistan. They're, working in, Frankfurt, but they're thinking in, Lahore and Quetta, and they're still in
So,
those zones. And they somehow call it the Muslim identity. Like Geo is going to set your Muslim identity? Really?
no, it's not.
Geo? Yeah. Or ARY is going to set your Muslim identity. Every house you go to, Nawaz Sharif versus Pakistan. What's the word? Imran Khan. Nawaz Sharif, Imran Khan. And every old man of Pakistani, or old women literally, they know the names of every damn minister, their secretaries, the senators. It's like, you know what? If somebody had to really ruin a nation, they would not have done a better job from the outside. We did it from our own selves, from our own parents. Old women, like 70-year-old women, Pakistanis living in New York, in
Sir,
Toronto, in Vancouver.
it's
They
not their
know,
own
what?
fault.
The home minister, or they don't call it home. The Bijli ka Wazeer Falan Niazi hai, to Falan, Shirazi. And I'm like, are you kidding me? How did you know that?
Sir, I have to
In
disagree.
hydro, literally, the minister for hydro in Pakistan. You never even went to Pakistan. Last 20 years, you haven't been to Pakistan. How do you know all of these names? Because they're getting this tuition and they're addicted to it. Every morning, these old folks wake up, they go to Tim Hortons for whatever work. As soon as they have a break, they just come back home. All of a sudden, first thing they do is they're just ogling at the remotes, just trying to put Geo or ARY on. And I'm thinking, what happened here? Amazing marketing, man. I gotta give credit to this Geo guy, what I'm saying, whoever owns it, or this ARY guy. He is, I mean, this should be in Guinness Book, and this should be in Harvard Business School. This is not common in any other nation, I'm telling you.
Sir, this happened in the Musharraf time, when we got the bunch of news channels and all, and we were having so much things happening in our surrounding,
These
and
old
they
folks,
got the
no,
platform
I
and
don't
they
buy that.
just
I'll tell you.
so
I know. Let me ask you a question. When Musharraf was here, he was here for what, 10 years, right? These old folks were not in Pakistan at that time. How did they all call each other up? Because there was no WhatsApp group of all Pakistanis, right? There's not Pakistan.com website which says, today we're all gonna, uphold the belief of turning Geo and ARY in our homes. I don't know how it happened. It happened,
because we
you
did
know.
not have any other option. Do you have any remember any option between 2000 and 2010 where people can turn on the TV and watch anything else from ARY, Geo, and Dunia? Do you have any other option that people could have watched other than Peace TV, But Peace TV was not
No,
there.
this is the
Do
generation
you
that
remember
made.
any other option people could have watched?
I'll tell you what the other option is. These are the same old folks who grew up on Indian movies, man. Same television sets when they were in Pakistan. All they did was Amitabh Bachchan and what, Madhuri Dixit's.
Yeah.
Oh, they were addicted to it. As soon as they went out, all of a sudden they jumped right into Geo and ARY. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is what's the at the core of the rusted foundation of our Pakistani nation. That this last two generations, they really did it for us. You know what I'm saying? They made sure that and for the sake of spirituality, they're going to those other channels. In the early morning, times, they just put it on this QTV and all of that stuff, just so that they can convince themselves that it's the beginning of the morning. So, and they keep on flipping on the those new channels during the break in QTV programming. So this is what I'll tell you where I'm hurting. I'll tell you where I'm hurting. You are who you are. You cannot change the way you behave because it comes from within, right? From within, inside you. And if somebody claims that, I am spiritually a Muslim and it's within me and I'm going to die a Muslim and I'm going to uphold the values of Islam, but I don't know nothing about it. If you ask names of any 7 Sahaba, these old folks won't be able to do the math on that one. You know what I'm saying? And they keep on giving pep talks and lectures and even quizzing their own kids on Islam. And those kids are like, who you're the one to talk. You know what? You guys literally would fail on basics of the same quiz you keep giving me, because I've never seen you actually reading or trying to understand or holding an Islamic debate for more than 2 minutes before you say, you know what, just because I'm saying it, just shut up and do whatever I'm telling you to. That's their go-to statement to their kids. In the 80s, in the 90s, I've been there, so I know. So I'm just saying, kids know. And they don't know because it's on their smart screens, because their smart screens are always filled with GeoRY. Kids know because of their cell phones. They're looking at Islamic content on their cell phones because their big screens are filled up by daddy's Geo time and, mommy's ARY time. And that's the problem.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Yeah.
So if
But
kids are actually, going to Islamic content through YouTube, that's quite a big leap, That's
yeah,
quite a leap. These kids really had to construct a zone of Islam in their own bedrooms, in their own cell phones, because the living rooms, was prime time Pakistan television. So it's a
so coming back to the question, the third part was that how we are going to implement the Islam in our society. Yeah, yeah.
the way Jews are doing it in Israel.
So,
That's
so,
how.
so that's for that I feel responsibility to go back to Pakistan, and that's how what I understood from Dr. Srar, that first implement that in yourself, then in your family, then in your society, then you can present a complete society to the all the non-Muslim world. Like, come and see that
I'll,
this is
I'll
the
tell
thing
you
that we
something.
have to,
Okay. Ahmad, I'll tell you. If overseas Muslims decide that we're going to construct an Islamic system in Pakistan, it would be constructed 10 years, even 20 years ahead of time compared to when local Pakistanis are going to actually try and create a revolution. Okay.
yeah,
I'm telling you, that's the revolution I want. Your knowledge set should come back home, not you guys. Your finances should come back home. Your resource, not you guys. That's how Jews are doing it, and they're doing an amazing job. Even though Israel, actually, in their own book, is actually propagating to all Jews that the Messiah will never ever come until all Jews come back to Israel. That's their actual doctrine. I'm quoting word to word Ezekiel. Okay. I'm quoting every rabbi. Every rabbi knows that. They're all making this whole movement to ensure that most or all Jews should come back to Israel. And Jews are never going to come back to Israel because, they're well placed inside. They come and visit. They're never going to live in. That's what Israel is trying to do. They're trying to settle, make settlements, make Israel, Tel Aviv look attractive enough at that same level where Jews in New York would not feel outside New York if they land in Israel. Okay, if anything, they should feel better. And that's the drive that Tel Aviv has. And that's why Tel Aviv is progressing so fast. That's the same technique. Understand the psychology here. They're trying to settle the same set standards because they know that if they don't have the same standards of life in Tel Aviv, Jews in Frankfurt, Jews in Manchester, Jews in Toronto, Jews in New York, in California are not going to come back. 83% of all Jews live in 3 countries. You know that? Outside Israel. 83%. That's what they had to do. They have an easy game here. We, as Pakistanis, we know that we're spread everywhere. But most of our Pakistanis are in those countries which don't really call the shots on the, the Arabian countries, in African countries, Australia. Canada does not have that many, but, okay, Canada. They don't call the shots. You know what I'm saying? England called the shots, and America called the shots. And a few other, like Scandinavia, it's calling the shots now. Okay. So these countries, wherever Pakistanis are living, I need you to understand if Pakistan starts to compete on the standards at which Scandinavia is set, then yeah, okay, you can come back. But until that happens, you need to keep training Pakistanis through your acumen, the locals. Make sure you understand that. Knowledge has to come from the outside in. We are actually gaining it from the inside out through Geo and ARY. That's why I keep, telling everyone in Pakistan to turn their televisions off. Otherwise, this is going to continue for the next generation. And now, you know what? I started noticing that people in their 20s and early 30s are also into this ARY, Geo game. They're looking into those horrible, low-class humor that flows through these channels. Even their sitcoms are at a level where if you have to destroy a child's sense of humor and pull down the class of the way a mind can think, that's when you have to,
yeah,
keep him tuned into this sort of programming, in all of these channels, you know what I'm saying? TV channels. So a kid is going to do what his daddy's going to do, right? A girl is going to do what her mommy's been doing all her life. That's psychology 101. So understand how big of a problem we are creating. We have to rebel against this very psychology of our parents, especially in Northern America, North America, and Western Europe. Okay, these are the places that matter, and in Scandinavia. These are the places that matter. People in Korea, people in Saudi Arabia, in Dubai, that's the bottom of the barrel. The kind of people who go to Dubai from Pakistan, never going to call the shots in Pakistan anyway. Most of them are survivors, Most of them are, practically there so that they can actually, because they're dying here, literally, out of, there's a certain socioeconomic class that actually moves in certain countries. So if you can, draw the curve, you can see the landscape of the Pakistanis and even Indians. When they are actually choosing a country to migrate to, you can see that big difference between the kind of people who want to achieve in certain realms of knowledge and, even at a social level. You can see the difference in the way these people have defined their worldview. So most of these people who want to go to Dubai and UAE wouldn't even choose to go to America. You know what I'm saying? They would be afraid to go to America. You need to understand that. There's a hard choice between choosing between countries inside Scandinavia by Pakistani students, There's a very hard line between choosing going to Denmark or Finland or Norway or nobody goes to Iceland, right? Still Scandinavia. Nobody wants to go to Iceland, of course, unless, of course, he's at a certain socioeconomic class. Nobody would want to just say, you know what, that's my first choice. And, so on and so forth for so many other countries. And that's exactly how you should look at the psychology of the people who are inside America or England and France and Germany. They are the places which are going to call the shots because of the kind of cultural psychology that they have. And I need you guys to adopt that psychology. I need you guys to understand the power that you might have or strength that you might gain and the development that they're going to give you regardless of who you are. And I need you to channel it back home, not just the foreign exchange, but the transfer of technology, that psychology. I'm talking about the intellect here. Transfer that technology back home along with the money, literally with the money. That's what the Jewish model is. And we need that. Okay. So, and when I came to Pakistan, I realized that, what, I would have served this nation better with the dollars I was sending back home. And then I was like, what, that's not going to cut it. That's just not going to cut it, because most of the people who are inside the religious realm are at a SEC B, SEC C, and most of them between B and C, or C and D, sorry. So we need to develop a lot more infrastructure in the minds of the people who are pro-religion. That's how religion is constructed. The system is constructed. Because SCCA is anti-Islam, allergic to Islam in Pakistan. We need to argue and debate. They're looking up to you guys in Germany and in England and in America, in Canada, the SCCA of Pakistan. Okay, so you need to understand which battle to pick and how to win those fights. That's a far more practical and a formidable solution. Jews have done that regardless of SECs. Well, I'm pretty sure because there were no Jews before, before Israel. So we have Muslims in Pakistan, and that's what I keep telling Indian Muslims to do as well. I swear to you, my actual ask is from Indian Muslims to do the same. We got to pick a place and build it up. They picked a place from their book. Okay. No, we can't, pick a place from our book because there's no place in our book. Every place on the globe is our place in our book. So we got to pick from wherever we can and try and construct the set of knowledge and then expertise and acumen and then the real sense. That's how, the system is done. That's how system implementation is done. And every Jew is proud to be sending it to Israel. They take pride in this. They own it. They literally own the very fact that, what, every single dollar I'm going to make, I'm going to send to Tel Aviv. This is what I am here for on this planet. And I'm really, I respect that about Jews. They do what they believe in. We are the Muslims who literally do everything against whatever they say that they believe in. Okay, so most of the Pakistanis would rather take out every single penny out of Pakistan and spend it in Toronto and, on King Street. Literally. That's the dream of most Pakistanis. Exact opposite dream of every Jew. Okay, so I'm talking about
sir, makes
how
sense. Yeah, it makes sense, but I am still little confused, but I got your point 100%. I'm just thinking about the practicality of it, if it is really possible, because we have
that's the only way it's going to be possible as far as I can think. That's the only way. I'm telling you, I have been through all streets of Pakistan. I'm telling you, it's my country. It's our country. I'm telling you, this is our people. I've been through every street. Okay. Every step I take, I lose an ounce of hope. Every person I talk to, I lose an ounce of hope because of this very lack of acumen. Okay. I never used to go through that in Toronto. I swear to you, or in America. I never used to go through this. I used to think, because there are Pakistanis and Indians I talk to, right? They're Muslims I talk to. And I'm thinking, you know what? We not only speak in the same grammar, but we have the same sort of intent. We want to really, lift up because you're in England or Germany, wherever you are. I'm sorry, I forgot.
Yeah,
You're in Germany. Yeah. So you own up to a Muslim identity in Germany because you have to. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not like you have a choice there. In Pakistan, you don't have that need of carrying the Muslim identity anymore. Yeah, if anything, people are shy calling themselves Muslims because they want to be cool. And, Islam is become an uncool, perception inside Pakistan. I'm talking about Pakistan. Oh, bahut Maulvi ho gaya ye, yeah. You know what? Iska matlab hai ye dumb hoga. Literally, that's what they think. Iska matlab hai pendu hoga ye. Literally. This is what Muslims have started to think inside Pakistani households. Mothers are like, Dadi kyun rakhi hai mere bete ne? Literally, that's the frown on the Pakistani mother's face. I'm talking about the regular mother, okay? Not the Maulvi's daughter. सब कुछ बैलेंस करो दीन और दुनिया बैलेंस करते होते हैं okay you got to get grades and you got to get those jobs and you got to get those girls and then you got to get Jannah as well. That's what the Pakistani mother model is.